What would you buy with $10 million in GTA Online? It's a tough question to answer because of the amount of stuff they've added to the game. In the past, I've always put my money into investments. I wanted my money to make me more money. But now that I have everything I need, I think it's time I buy some depreciating assets. But of course, before we get into that, we first have to make our $10 million considering I spent all my money in the last episode. So with that being said, let's get into it. The first thing I did was go to my acid lab, restock supplies, and use the speed boost. I then went over to the nightclub and made sure my popularity was maxed out by switching up some DJs so that I could earn $50,000 every single in-game day through the wall save. So now that the passive businesses were set up, it was time to do a Cayo Perico heist, and we did it in our usual way. I grabbed the long fin, went through the main dock, and head over to the airstrip where there's two loot locations. The first one, of course, being the hangar where you take out the guard in front of it, go in and take out the loot from there. The second location is in the shed on the opposite side of the airstrip. You'll have to take out a guard and a security camera to get in there. But once we did both and we took all of the secondary loot, which was grass and cash, we were ready to go to head over to the compound. Once in the compound, we took the ruby necklace, which wasn't the best primary loot, but we will take it. And once we were out and we completed the heist, we made $1.35 million in about an hour. So since the Cayo Perico heist has a 2.5 hour cooldown before we could do it again as a solo player, we then went into a Dr. Dre contract. And this has become a lot easier, or found it to be easier than it was when I first did it. And that's mainly because in the second leak, the High Society leak, I used the Vigilante during the finale, which allows me to take out the enemies at the party very quickly, as well as the Billionaire's helicopter when we are chasing them down. So it makes that leak very easy. The rest of them are pretty simple to take care of. And while we were doing the Dr. Dre contract, we also mixed in some payphone hits, a total of 4. I did the first payphone hit before I started up the Dr. Dre contract, and then I did 3 more after each leak was completed. Luckily for us, the payphone hits were really easy. The first 2 that we got were the ones where we were chasing them down in a police car until their car explodes. Simple as that. The second one we got was the golf buggy. We had to go over to the golf course, run over the target with the golf buggy until they died, and we moved on. And the final one was drowning them in a taxi, which is easy. You pick them up in the taxi, and then you could drive off Del Piero. So with that, in total, the Dr. Dre contract took me an hour and 45 minutes to complete, and the payphone hits in total took 15 minutes to do altogether. So we spent 2 hours doing the Dr. Dre contract, which paid out $1 million, and 4 payphone hits, which paid out a few $100,000 more. At this point, we still had 30 minutes until we could do the Cayo Perico heist again, so I just took a quick break and then came back, started up our second Cayo Perico heist. This time it was in hard mode, which means we get a 10% boost on all the loot we take, as well as the elite challenge will give out $100,000 instead of $50,000. We did it our usual way. Our secondary loot was all cash and our primary target was tequila, but we made $1.42 million in just an hour. And that ended off the first day of this grind. In the first day, I spent 4.5 hours grinding and made just over $4 million. Now it's time for day 2. We started off day 2 once again with another Cayo Perico heist. We got cash and grass as our secondary and tequila as our primary. Now, one side challenge that I gave myself is to see if I could get a pink diamond by the end of the video. So that was what I was hoping for, because we just kept getting tequila. All in, that heist took once again about an hour, just under an hour, and we made $1.32 million. At this point, the wall safe in the nightclub made $200,000, so I went over, collected our money, made sure our popularity was maxed out again, and for the first time, I think, in this series, we went AFK. And what that is I'm tricking the game into believing that I'm still playing the game while I'm actually away from the console. And the reason for doing this is the game still allows me to make product with my passive businesses while I'm not actually playing the game. So in our case, it is the acid lab and the nightclub. All I had to do for this was make sure with my PS5 the settings were set so that it doesn't go into rest mode. And then I went over to our Maze Bank West office, went into the main office area. I made sure to disband as a CEO so that I wouldn't get any fees or any issues with any of my CEO businesses, and then went into the interaction menu, went over to office decor, and chose to preview one of these decors. Once you're in that preview section, you are completely AFK. I went AFK for 3 hours, like I said, and it worked out perfectly, and we're definitely going to use this more going forward. By the time I came back, of course, because it was 3 hours, we had $150,000 now in the wall safe again, and it was time to do our Acid Lab sale because our Acid Lab was fully stocked up. I decided to risk it so that we could get some extra money, so I went and did the sale in a public lobby with 25 or more people. I made sure to use Ghost Organization so that I was taken off the radar for 3 minutes, and we just about completed the sale mission safely. We got all of our deliveries done, and because we were in that public session with 25 or more people, got a 50% bonus. So instead of making the $335,000 we were supposed to make, we made $500,000. And at this point, the cooldown for the Cayo Perico heist had ended, so we went into our 4th Cayo Perico heist. Did it in hard mode. We once again got some Coca-Cola, cash, and grass as our secondary, but unfortunately got tequila as our primary once again. But this was our best Cayo Perico heist at the time. It made us $1.48 million in 1 hour of work. And with that, that was the conclusion of day 2 of the grind. Heading into day 3, we only had a couple $1 million left to make. So I started off day 3 with a Cayo Perico heist, and we finally got the pink diamond. I feel like it's been months since I've got this as a primary target, so we completed it very easily, very quickly. We had cash, Coca-Cola, and grass as our secondary targets, and then the pink diamond as our primary, which made us $1.6 million in just an hour's time. And to finish off the grind, we did the 2 time trials for the week. The normal time trial took a few attempts, but it was relatively easy, made us $100,000, and the HSW was even simpler and more straightforward and made us $250,000. And now that we had finally made the $10 million, it was now time to buy some things, and here is what I got. Yes, you were seeing that right. We finally bought some luxury vehicles in the game. I'm very happy with all of my purchases and all the customizations that I put on them. I think they look pretty good. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. In total, we spent our full $10 million that we had. These are some of the most expensive cars in the game, especially the Itali RSX. So I'm very happy with it. I definitely want to add more to our supercar and our luxury car collection in the future. That's what I wanted to start into today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.